Right, what has happened, everyone? Yeah, it is that time again. It's story time, and we are in day 9, and I do mean day 9 of our consecutive stories, right? So the first one we had was Blood on Matthew Street, second one the Run That Knew Too Much, third one Bulletproof and Brutal, fourth one The Love of L8, fifth one He Can't Be Touched, sixth one Gone Wrong, seventh one The Taxi Driver with Secrets, the eighth one The Robbie Mum's House, and then tonight's one, the ninth one, The Roof Returns Informer. This is heavy, right? It's just one of them stories where you're like, ooh, there's so many things that could have went wrong, but then there's so many things that could have went right, and you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you do the wrong thing for the right reasons, or sometimes you do the right thing for the wrong reasons, you know what I mean? But see, you think about this right now, let's get into it. 8 o'clock in the morning, right? You've got to picture this. The night before, I've been smashing half a box up. So what I was doing is I had G-clamps with the big socket sets, right? So I was getting it, I was bashing it, and I was putting into these G-clamps, the sockets, putting them on the clamps, and then putting a 50p over the socket, and just compressing it, right? Now, when you're recompressing, it takes a few hours, so you got to leave it, and then it goes solid, as you know. What mine was doing is when mine were going solid, and it was ready, I'd take the 50p off, and I'd have a Queen's head on it. Yeah, so I had my own little brand, you know what I mean? So I had loads of quarters, just like that. So it's about 8 o'clock, and my phone's up, he's like, lad, what's happening, where are you? I said, lad's early, and he's like, you're up? I said, I haven't even been to bed yet. He's like, lad, will you come and see me? I said, where are you? He said, I'm on a building site. And he said, where? So he told me, he said, who are you working with? And they were all roofers, but they had like, you know, they was the trades were like Lecky, there was, you know, there was gas, all kinds going on. It was this big site with like new builds on it. So all the lads in there, you know, they're all active, aren't they? All them builders and they're all active. So he made like, I said, what do you need? He went, lad, just a quarter. I said, yeah. He said, one of them special ones though. So I said, yeah. So I'm thinking, he's mad at him. Now, what he meant by that is he meant like a proper one that's like just 1-to-1, 2-to-1. You know what I mean? So I had a couple on the list. There's like some for over the road, there's some for Liverpool. So the ones for Liverpool are going to be well stronger than the ones that aren't for Liverpool, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, go on, sound. So when I got there, he went, yeah, there's 4 ton. I'm like, what? So he's looking at me. So I'm like, oh yeah, nice one, mate. So I'll give him this parcel, right? And he's looked at it and went, nah, that's too big for them. So I'm like, well, he's in my car, he's round the corner. So he goes, lad, chop it, chop it, chop it. I'm like, what do you want me to do? He's like, lad, chop it. So I'm like, where? So he's trying to chop, so he just chops like it more or less in half, right? And he puts it in the gully. He goes, lad, that's for us, I'll be back home in it. So he goes to these kids, gives them this. This is like, it's like an 8, right? For 4 ton. I don't know where, how or what, but that's what he's done. And he comes back and he's like, yeah, lad, this is between us. And splits what's left in half. So I'm like, yeah, you can just have that, you know, lad. So then over the next few days, it's just becoming a thing, do you know what I mean? It's just becoming a habit. So I'm just taking quarters down all the time, and I'm thinking, these are loving this there. So I said to him, lad, I said, who's this kid? He said, what do you mean? He said, he signs a roofer. I said, next time I come, I said, let me see him, lad. He's like, why? I said, just in case you know him, I don't know. Just one of them random things, you know what I mean? I want to see who's getting this now. The lad hadn't seen me. Yeah, he was just seeing me mate, because my mate was like in charge of, you know, giving them the socials and all that. So it was what it was. Next thing this kid comes down, right? And I swear, you know, I've never seen a more bang on kid in my life. And I mean proper bang on. He called me like, all right, mate. And I'm like, what's happening, lad? He couldn't look at me, and I was thinking, what's wrong with him? So I said to him, lad, what's wrong with him? He's like, oh, lad, he's always like that. I said, lad, he looks proper bang on. He said, I know, mate. He said, that's what you sound, lad. He said, I've known him for ages, you know. All like proper reassured me and everything was sound and all that. Now, I don't know, take it how you want, but I just had this weird, moody feeling. So I didn't like it straight away. I just had this, like, you know, like when a cloud comes over you. And it's probably the silliest thing you did. Or was it the cleverest thing you did? Who knows? So my mate saying to me, oh, lad, and then my mate's going, I'm not here no more. I'm leaving the site next week, lad, but will you still come and see these? So I'm like, nah, not really, lad. He's like, what? I said, nah. I said, I only see you, lad. Now, this lad, this roofer, he's never seen me pass nothing to no one. Do you know what I mean? So, in my head, I'm just thinking, he's got me at the scene. Not just like, just overthinking or mad and all that. Just thinking he's a busy in, but obviously he's not a busy, do you know what I mean? It's just, when you're let go, you let go. So I was starting to think. So, my other mate, he's at the limo, and I said to him, listen, lad, I said, there's a customer there. He said, what does he want? I told him, and this was when my mate had now left. So the lad's phoning up, he's phoning me up, and I was like, I didn't even want to phone me. So I phoned me and being like, yeah, there's a customer there, lad, if you want him, you can have him, but I reckon he's bang on. And he goes, lad, you say that about everyone. I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, no, lad, you do. He said, maybe you said it about him, and he was sounding, he said it about the fella in nursing home, and he's like 85. I'm like, I know, lad. People just give me weird vibes, like, I know, but you're always wrong. I said, well, maybe, lads, it doesn't mean what, you know what I mean? Just is what it is. It's just because I'm wrong about one person, doesn't mean I'm wrong with someone else. So he's like, lad, gives the punter then. I'm like, go ahead, you can have him then. So he goes and sees this lad, and then he tells the lad that this is the number to phone from now on. So the lad's on him, and everything's going well and all that. He's getting bigger bits and he's getting bigger bits. And I'm starting to think I've lost out here because you may think, oh, lad, you're proper lost out there. You know, he's a proper boss punter. I've been to see him in his after hours and all that. I'm like, yeah. So in the end, I'm just like, oh, it is what it is. My own fault, lad. You know, I made the judgment on it, but it is what it is. I'll lose out on that. You know, one customer to me is not really, doesn't make a difference really, do you get me? So over time, I've like forgot about him now. Do you know, I'm just moving on with it, and I'm seeing the other mates on other sites and so on and so forth. And this kid, and you know, every time I'm speaking to the lad who bent him on, he's like, lad, it's proper sound, you know, the doug's always there. And I'm just like, you know what? And he's going, lad, you lost out. I'm like, lad, I'm not really bothered, lad. I said, I'd rather lose out than be worried like that. Do you know what I mean? He's like, yeah. He said, lad, can you get Bobby? I said, yeah. I said, I can. I said, but who for him? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, can you get me a scratch? I said, yeah. I said, lad, I don't want nothing to do with it. I said, I'm just going to throw a drink on whatever it is. He's like, obviously, lad, standard. I said, come on. So I'll get him a scratch, gives him a scratch of the Bobby. And then he goes in and gives it to the lad. Now, the next day, the lad hasn't been heard of, right? Something's, whatever's happened, I don't know. He's probably off work, something like that. And it's the day he was supposed to get the parcel. But nothing's been like I don't really set things up unless I know it's 100%. So I get loads of people all the time saying, lad, can you get me this? Can you get me that? I'm like, yeah, I can. Yeah, but you know, when you wake up tomorrow, phone me and ask me for it, because you do get some mad people, right? And because they're your mates and that, they'll be sitting with birds and that, and they'll just start talking shit, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can get this, you know, like, you know, just like, you can spot it a mile away though, and then the next day it never comes through. So like, I'll get people phone up like 3 o'clock in the morning, like, what time, lads? I'm like, what time, can you talk? I'm like, yeah. Lad, I need this, I need that. And I'm thinking, why would you need that? And I'm like, lad, what are you on about? Lad, the cash is there. And I'm like, lad, it's not. So I'm like, yeah, Sam, mate, Sam, not to get the hour a bit, but I'm just thinking, yeah, Sam. And 99.9% of the time, it just doesn't happen. Oh, lad, well, what happened is, I'm like, lad, you told me last night you had 30 grand. Lad, you haven't got a pot of pissing. But lad, don't phone me and just chat shit like that. Oh, lad, I know, but I had this thing and it all went. And I'm like, lad, just keep it. Because I just, you know, it's weird what you're doing. Yeah, you phone me up asking me if I've got things. I'm telling you I've got it now and I can get it to you in less than an hour. Lad, just jib it. Just stop thinking you're on one. You don't even do that, you're a worker. Yeah, so stop trying to pretend to be a grafter. Why you pretend to be a grafter is because you think birds will love that. Lad, some birds do, but they're the birds you don't want near anyway. Leg them because they're just rinching and leg you. Yeah, you're brand new, lads. What are you on about? Saying, yeah, you can get this. You don't even know what the bird is. How do you know that bird's brother's not a busy? You don't know. You don't know what's going on. You're meeting birds and you're phoning me up, lad, and you know what I mean, talking shit to me, packing in. She was like, Sam. So then, about 3 weeks later, I bumped into my mate. He's on another building site to go see me. He goes, oh, lad, today, what happened? I went, no, he went, that kid got nicked. I said to him, he said, that kid, and I said, lad, I said, he's a busy. He's like, nah, he's not, he got nicked, lad. He said, lad, I've seen his charge sheets and all. I said, what did he get nicked with? He said, bitch. I said, what do you mean? He went, lad, he had 100 bits on him. Yeah. And he parked his car up and he went to see someone. And the lad who went to see, the house next door was under obs for Bobby and White. I'm like, yeah. He went, so he saved him. I said, saved who? The lad went, yeah. I said, I don't get it. He went, lad, he saved him on the step. I said, he saved a lad with limo on the step in broad daylight who's next door to a house that's under house for Bobby. He's like, yeah, but he didn't know. I'm like, and then when I was with that bitch, he just ran over, choked him, took him to the car. There's 100 bits in the car. And I'm like, what? I said, obviously he's been nicked. He went, yeah, he went through his gaff and all that. I said, what did he find? He went, no, I don't think he found anything. I'm like, yeah. He said, what do you reckon for that? I said, first offence, lad, you're looking about a 5.5. There's no way it's not supplying. There's no way. It's impossible. Because I think, don't hold me to it, but I'm not too sure. But I think anything more than 20 halves, it's just no matter what, it's supplying it. I think 20 halves, you can blend it like, you know, if you've got your month supplying or whatever, you can just blend it like that. But I think there's a limit. It might be 15, it might be 20, or it could even be 9. I'm not too sure. It's something like that. But there's a limit on where it defo goes into the supplying, do you know what I mean? So he's been nicked for supplying, he's been nicked with the bits on him, his Ken's gone. Meh. He's been bailed, which, you know, that is normal, you get bailed. And I said, when's he in court? Now, the reason why I remembered it is because his court date was on my kid's birthday. So I remembered it, yeah. Obviously, I remembered it straight away. So weeks and I've gone past and all that, and this kid's getting Bobby for him, and this is going, he's like, lad, it's going well. And, you know, I've just connected in with him and took a drink. I just took a one-off payment. I'm like, yeah, just give me that, and whatever you do together is not to do, keep my eyes on it. So I've changed my number as well. So this kid hasn't got my number no more. Because as soon as I heard he got nicked, I was like, yeah, I swear, that's all. Change my number and basically just cut all ties and just had anything to do with anything like that, you know what I mean? So, you know, I'm safe anyway, but get on this, right? Now, my mate, who I originally met on this site, he's got to go back to this site now to start another like, batch of houses, because what they do is they build like 5 houses, then they build another 5, and so on, so on, and so forth. I don't know why they do like that, what they just do. So on the end houses now, there's access because there's no windows in them and like that. So these have got this like this little thing what they do, and they'll take swag and they'll put it in this certain place in the end house, right? And to access the place, you've got to take a plasterboard off. Right, and I know this just off talking with me mates, you know what I mean? So, they stick like this little tag thing on the screw. So, if anyone wants to go and check the swag and they look and the thing's still on the screw, they know no one's been there. It's just a weird thing they do, you know what I mean? It's not going to really stop it from getting took, but it's just the way they do it. So, I'm talking to my mate, he goes, yeah, I said, lad, that lad's up in court soon, isn't he? Because I remember, because it was on my kid's birthday, and he's like, yeah. He went, that's weird, Daddy. Why? Because lad, he wants a box of Bobby. I said, when he went the day before. I said, he wants a box of Bobby the day before he's in court. He's like, yeah, mad, Daddy. And I'm thinking, yeah, that is mad. I said, how's he paying for it? He went, lad, he's paying up front. I said, he's paying you up front. And I'm thinking, unless like he's taking parcels in, like for the centre, I don't know. Because, lad, you're looking at 5. You're looking at 5, mate. So, it's defo custodial. There's no two ways about it. And I know that for a fact. Even if you've been a member of the Red Cross for the last 10 years, you're still going away for that. There's no way, right? So he said, well, here's what he's doing. So he said, where's it going to be? He said, it's going to be in the stash with noise. And I said, lad, I'm taking it. He went, what? I said, I'm taking it, lad. I said, I'm taking it, lad. I said, I'm going to go half on it. I said, I'll take it. And he's going, how are you going to do that? I said, because lad, I just don't know, lad. I said, we'll just sort it. So I'm making these plans up. Now my mate, he's back on the scene in this site. So my other mate, he's like getting the Bobby, but he's getting the Bobby off me. So it's basically coming through me still. And I am still connected in a certain way, aren't I, if you look deep. But you know what? I'm just going to take this off this kid. And you could be like, you're a rat, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? I'm taking it, and that's that, yeah. It's only a mushroom. Who do you think you are? Getting too big for your boots. Coming around here, trying to get boxes of Bobby and all that, lad. A day before you're in court, get after it. Doesn't sound right, does it? So now I've had to bet my other mate on it. So there's now me, the original lad from the site, and the lad who, the kid, the new get after him. So there's 3 of us, now we're all in on it. So it is what it is, you're getting rolled, lad. So I'm saying I don't like him, lad. And they're both saying, lad, he's sound. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, well, don't you want to do it? They're like, yeah, we're still robbing him. I'm like, sound, innit? You know what I mean? Easy dog. So I go down to the site one night, it must be about 11 o'clock in the night, and I just have a little look around and that. And there's like these weird people, and they're in that house, like, loitering around the house. And I'm thinking, that's closed, why would anyone be in there? But I thought it might just be like, they're running late on deadlines or something like that. It might be working, because they had high visions on and all that. And he did look the part, but I don't know, something just seems a bit moody, because why are they in that house if it's the end house, do you know what I mean? Now, I'm not a builder, they could have been doing things or whatever, or they're behind, like I said, or they get fired if they're late with the, you know what I mean, the hands over the house and all that. So I'm sort of half like, yeah, so I goes back to mine, and I goes to bed and all that, but I'm just working, playing on my mind. So I speak to these, and I'm like, it's coming close to the date now. I'm like, so what's the plan? He's like, well, lad, he wants me to just go in the house, yeah. I said, how are you getting on the site? He went, lad, I've got IVs, and that what he's giving me. I'm like, have you, yeah. So it's like, because there's that many people in there, it's just a blender, because there's just firms, the people who are organising it, they don't know exactly who's on site, and you know what I mean? So I'm just like, that's what me, like, so I said, so what's the plan? He said, lad, I'll just go and get it. He said, I'll put it in the house, and then I just text him it's there, and then he goes and has a look at it. And I'm like, so when's he paying you? He went, he'll pay me the night before. I'm like, he's paying you the night before, just trusting you like that. He's like, yeah, lad, it's nothing to him. And I'm thinking, it is something to him, or why is he working? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense that he's in court after, isn't he? He's like, yeah, lad, yeah. So I think he's just getting sorted in case he gets slammed. And I'm like, okay, well, it does half make sense and all that. So it comes to the day right now, proper sneaky this. So my mate, he's on the site anyway, the original lad. And then my other mate, he's gone and put the thing there, right? So about 20 minutes later, because I've fallen around, I've gone in and took the thing and bailed out the back. No one's seen me. There's no CCTV. I've got out the window, like where the windows go, just jumped out the back and bang. So I've got the box now, right? So now it's been a full day. The lad must have went back to it, I'm presuming, like at some point, and been like, what, fucking hell, that's gone, whatever. But no alarms have been raised, nothing's been said, right? Nothing at all has been said. So then the next day, when the kid's in court, he's gone. He's just on the mission, that's it, he's gone. And I'm thinking, no way, he's been slammed there. So then about 2 weeks after that, the kid comes back and he's in work. And my mate phone's like, lad, he's back. I said, what? I went, as he said, lad, he hasn't said a word. I'm like, he hasn't said a word about that. He's like, no. And I'm like, wow, lad, that's proper mad, that. I said, how's he? He went, lad, he got remanded. I said, for 2 weeks. I don't get remanded for 2 weeks, Lad, this doesn't make sense, it's proper weird and all that. He went, lad, and he showed me that he's got probation. I'm like, lad, how can you get remanded for 2 weeks? And then, do you know what I mean? Lad, it's weird. You've gone guilty and you're up for sentencing. you're getting sentenced, yeah. Now, you know, you're looking at 5 at best for throwing your hands in. What, a 3.5 or something, do you know what I mean? And no jail, but you've been remanded for 2 weeks. I'm like, and you haven't even mentioned all about the parcel. Doesn't make sense at all, does not make sense at all. So now the lads stop getting things and all that, it's all gone dark, and all that. So time's getting on, time's getting on. And about 2 months later, yeah, I'm sitting in the house. Well, I was in bed in fact, next thing, bang, it all just goes, plot right through. I never had nothing in the house because I'm not like that. And I never had no phone in because I'm not like that on my money, on the board, you know what I mean? And I was just like, because my phones, my next door neighbour, he lets me keep the phones in his garden, do you know what I mean? Just, he knows what I'm doing, give him a little drink and that now and again, but, you know, no one goes there, he's proper sound, just one of them, you know what I mean? So I've got nothing in the house, so they're going to the house, they've got dogs and all, there's nothing in the gaff. So I'm just like, wow, I'm like, what do you want? So they've nicked me and that takes me in. And then just interview him and all that. And I'm like, do you know him? Do you know him? Do you know him? I'm like, nah, mate, no. Well, you've been seen with him, picture of me with him. And I'm like, who is he? I'm like, oh, him. I said, I play footy with him, lad. I said, you know, play footy with him. So obviously they've been roped in as well. The lads who was the original lads and the lads who, you know, like the second year after they've been roped in. But nothing, because they haven't got nothing. They've got nothing at all. Right, so the lad who was the original grafter, told me I was originally, he said the same story about no, play footy with him. So it's matched up, you know what I mean? And then our briefs are just like on and telling us and all that, blah, 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 blah. So I just ended up getting no further action. It got delayed, then no further action, that's it. So I got legs, but they never had nothing on there. The lad who got nicked when it was on my kid's birthday, yeah, he's a proper grass, yeah, he's a grass. And the lad who was on site with him, the original lad who I was with, he ends up getting roped in again, yeah. And then he ends up getting charged with social selling, right? And I think he got a 3. He ended up getting a 3. I think he did 18 months and was out on the tax like that. And the lad who was the secondary person with the Bobby, he got nicked and he ends up getting a 3 for whatever. But it weren't nothing to do with drugs, it was something different. He was on, so I don't know, whatever it was, just did the shite and that. So it turns out the lad, he was a grass, he got roped in the first time and just give everyone up, you know what I mean, for the lighter sentence, and that's why he never got jailed. The little rat's ass, mate. And that's what I say to people, don't just say people you don't know. Yeah, they might seem like the sound of that, but you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And you know what? They will throw you under the bus the first chance they get to save themselves, and that's a fact. So it's years later now, right, and we all still talk about it. I always say, lad, imagine if that box of Bobby that I took was the main ingredient for the whole, like, operation. He's like, do you reckon? I'm like, yeah. I said, lad, them plot have gone to there, and it's not there. And he's just been like, they probably put all their eggs in one basket, cases fell apart, you know what I mean? So they know that, like, we're either on it, or the lads, whatever, chatting shit, I don't know. But, you know, why didn't you have the options or options? It just, loads of things just don't make sense, but it is what it is. So it was a lucky escape, yeah. So that's what happens anyway. Proper madness. But, you know, think about it. If I wouldn't have took that, you know what I mean? What would that have meant? Could that have meant that, you know, think about it, you're getting proper slam for a box of Bobby. So, you know, everyone got nicked and, you know, they ended up getting about a 3 or something like that. But it was like worded different, do you know what I mean? It wasn't like for, it was just mad, they just hit them with like mad charges, and you know what I mean? And it was just like, it just didn't make sense, it was like, to me, it just seemed like it was like a botched operation, do you know what I mean? Just like a botched operation that just went wrong for them, but they still got people nicked for it, do you know what I mean? And, you know, I was sound and all that. It was just a headache for me, but I was sound, nothing ever happened to me, do you know what I mean? But that's what happens when you're careful, yeah? Just treat everyone as a suspect, just everyone, that's it. Even if I'm driving down the road and I've got things in the car and parcels and all that, if I see headlights, as far as I'm concerned, they're plod. It doesn't matter, do you know what I mean? It's best to be safe than sorry, right? So that's the day's story, the Reef Returned Informer. This is day 9, and day 10 is coming tomorrow. Scouser out.